Go ahead.
All right, my name's Richard Casteel. I'm a graduate student at University of Texas, and I do a lot of cave research, doing climate reconstructions. And I've also done some tree coring work in the past, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm coring this bald cypress tree. This is an increment borer. You twist it into the tree, and once you get it far enough, that's pretty good. You take out this device, stick it in this hole, and it separates the core from the tree. And then just this one out.
Richard, does that put the tree at risk in any way, coring it?
No, bald cypress trees are really resistant to any diseases or anything like bugs that can get in these holes, and then the holes, grow over about 1.5 years or so. There won't be any evidence that I was even here.
And you're coring this tree to basically examine its growth over the life of the tree and how cycles of drought might have affected that growth?
Right. You can look at the tree rings, and when you have a thicker ring, that indicates a wetter period, and when you have a thinner ring, it indicates a drought period. So, you pull this out. You have a tree core.
Can you tell, just off the top of your head, how old of a tree we're probably dealing with here?
Yeah, it's pretty young.
Young being?
150 maybe.
150 years old?
Yeah, but I don't know if I got to the center. I doubt that I did.
That's young. What's old in Central Texas for a bald cypress?
400 years.
400?
500. I think the oldest one we cored was 600.
588.
588.
Really? The one at Wimberley? What now?
Did we get older?
We had one at Wimberley that was, 1426. It was a sapling or whatever.
Yeah.
How many trees did we core for this project?
Close to 600.
600 different trees.
Dr. Cleveland, we're making a video here, so I want to ask you, in Texas we tend to talk about the drought of record being from the 1950s, but your research has shown significant droughts going back how far?
Well, we reconstructed drought back to 1500s.
How did you do that?
Well, from the effect of the drought on tree rings, and we got tree rings that go back to the 1400s, but we cut it off at the 1500s where we'd have more samples and better certainty that we were doing the right thing. The effect of drought is easy to see on these rings. Here we've got a year in which there's a ½ inch of growth. So it means that the tree probably grew a total of 1 inch in that year. On the other hand, I can see rings here where growth was much smaller, and so presumably those are years in which there's drought, a lot of stress on the tree, and if the tree really becomes stressed, it may not put on a ring at all down here where we're actually taking the core out of. We use the statistical relationship between our observations of drought going back to the 1890s and the tree rings to extend the drought record back to 1500. And that's what we did.
So there are trees in Central Texas that are still living that are that old?
Yes. Yeah, there are trees that go back into the 1400s. And we, not very many, unfortunately, but enough that they're there. And of course, some people have said, well, the Spanish introduced the bald cypress into Texas. Well, that's obviously not true, since You know, we've got bald cypress that began growing long before the Spanish came to the New World.